Alright guys, starting a little bit early. The Decimals are getting ready to play Game 7 of the semifinals here in the Bronze 32 team tournament. So we're going to watch some highlights and see if they can push on through to the finals and get us some extra packs tonight. And then we'll move on and look into the latest update to the top bronze hitters for these tournaments that we're seeing. Taking a quick glance at how the Decimals have been in this tournament. They've been kind of up and down. Offense has been okay. The pitchers have not been very good so far. Not as good as I saw in the championship run from last night. I wish we could have gotten it to work last night. It was a pretty exciting finals as they went all the way to Game 7 and then managed to win in a walk-off, a 3-run walk-off with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning from Tom Murphy. Which was pretty dang exciting, trying to close that out for another championship. That's their 3rd one over the last few days. This one we got into the semifinals a couple times today, but this is hopefully gonna push them on to the finals here. You can see for hitters, Tinker and Yastrzemski have been the best batting average. Hayes got the best home runs. Pitchers have just not been good. Doug Bird led us last night, but let's go ahead and watch the highlights of Game 7, and we'll see how they lie. All right, here we go. It's top of the first. Ryan Yarbrough pitching for us. He's been one of our studs throughout the last dozen or so tournaments. One of our top 10 pitchers from last night, if you recall. Pitching to the first batter of the game, who is Dave Stapleton for New Jersey. Nice day, at least, for Game 7 with 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Stapleton lines it in a right for a leadoff single. Inauspicious start, but we'll move on. Some more highlights later on. Bottom of the 3rd. Runner on first is Ryan Roberts, who's been a workhorse for us throughout this. Kevin Crone, we finally picked Kevin Crone up last night and added him to the team, and we'll see if he can make some noise here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That one's laced into right center field and deep. Kevin Crone gives the Dewey Decimals a 2-0 lead in the 3rd inning. Just the 2nd hit of the game for the Decimals up to this point. Moving on to the top of the 5th now. Yarbrough is still pitching. This time Lou Piniella on first, Jason Hayward at bat. And the first pitch to Hayward will be hit on the ground or lined into right field for a base hit. Piniella is going to hold up at second. What's up, Cabacom? And now Yarbrough is going to have to face Pierzynski with the bases loaded here in the top of the 5th. Still nobody out. Lots of danger here. Let's see if Yarbrough can get out of it. That one's lined into the gap in right center. Center fielder comes over, makes the catch. Will not have a play at the plate. And it's 2-1 in favor of the Decimals. Now steps up Dave Stapleton, who cranked that single in the 1st inning. Hits it into left field. That one falls in front of the left fielder. Throw home is not going to be in time, and it's tied at 2 here in the 5th inning. This is a tourney. This is Game 7 of the semifinals of my current Bronze 32 tourney. We didn't do the packs yet. I'm going to go over the hitters again real quick because I readjusted some things, and then I'm going to head on to the packs. We got about 50 or so tonight, so hopefully we'll get to see something good. I did sell Mike Schmidt, and we're not going to do all 200 of the packs tonight, just 50. We're going to save some for early next week. Yarbrough still with the bases loaded. Lots of trouble here in the 5th. That one's a pop-up, shallow center field. We'll see if the runner tries to score. He is going to try to score, and he will make it ahead of the throw. Carrasco scores the run and make it 3-2. Moving on to the bottom of the 6th. Aristides Aquino is a guy that we picked up last night as well. He's a guy who showed up in the top 5 today. We'll talk about him here when we talk about the hitters after this game. And he hits one into right field. The right fielder coming over can't make the play. It goes over his head to the wall. And Aquino's going to move into second with a 1-out double here in the bottom of the 6th. over Mike Yastrzemski's head. That's going to bring up the other Mike Yastrzemski, the good Mike Yastrzemski. Been a long 7-game series. Lots of tired players on both teams right now. The 3-0 pitch to Yastrzemski is taken for ball 4. We won our tournament last night in spite of just a awful performance the whole tournament from Yastrzemski, just making errors, making outs. Joe Tinker, our number 9 hitter, is going to step up now. Runners on first and second with 1 out. Tinker's fast. Hopefully he'll avoid any double plays here. That would be a terribly disappointing end to this inning. And he hits a fly ball to right center, which is going to be out number 2. The runner tags and moves up to third. So the tying run is 90 feet away. And that will bring up Ryan Roberts, leadoff hitter, who swings and hits one on the ground to second. Should be an easy play. And after 6, Dewey is down 3-2. In danger of blowing a 3-1 series lead and 9 outs away from being out of the tournament. John Gelnar pitching now for the Decimals with Evan Longoria up and A.J. Pierzynski on first. Full count to Longoria. Swung on and crushed into the gap in right center field. Looking to extend the lead. Pierzynski is going to come around third. And that's going to make it 4-2 in favor of New Jersey. So a tired bullpen letting down the Decimals right now. We move into the bottom of the 7th. Again, the newly acquired Kevin Cron, who already has 1 home run today, the one that put us up 2-0. They'll face a 3-1 pitch from Brandon Workman. And Cron with another hit, a single up the middle, trying to will the Decimals back into the game. Pierzynski swings and hits one to deep right. It's going to be a tie game, folks. 4-4 in the bottom of the 7th. The 7th inning stretch did them well. None of my games can be not exciting. Aquino comes up again here in the bottom of the 8th as the Decimals try to get a run on the board and get ahead after giving up the lead in the 5th. And Aquino hits one down the left field line. That is going to put them ahead. Home runs in the 7th and the 8th for the Decimals put them up 5-4. And they're now 3. Well, they're still batting as Joe Tinker comes up with a 1 out. Not a guy you're going to see many home runs from. He hits one soft down the third baseline. No play at first. Tinker legs it out. And he's going to probably try to steal second here if I had to guess. Ryan Roberts up, 2-0 count. Roberts hits one deep to left center, and it's a huge inning now. 7-4 in favor of the Decimals. I just started using AJ today. He's got good numbers in these tournaments. I've been liking what I've seen out of him. Still the bottom of the 8th as they're trying to pour it on. Alberto into right field for a single. Now it's just salt in the wounds for New Jersey. All right, here we go. Pete Vukovich pitching in the top of the 9th. 1 out, runner on third, a 4-run lead for Dewey. The Decimals trying to get into another finals. Vukovich is not our closer. He's a long relief pitcher, but our bullpen is exhausted after Game 6 went 16 innings last night. So it's up to Vukovich to close it out here. He'll induce a ground ball to third from Stapleton. The throw to first is out number 2. And the Decimals let up a run, but they're 1 out away from moving on to the finals. As Vukovich will have to pitch to Evan Longoria to try to close it out. There it is, strike 3. The Decimals come from behind late in the game, 6 runs in the 7th and 8th to win 8-5 and move on to a 32-team bronze tournament final, their 4th appearance in the final. So far they're 3-0, so hoping for good stuff. We're going to unhide those scores. Always exciting with these guys, I tell you. All right, we're going to let that simulate. We're going to move on and check out our top hitters for today. So, 2 more days of data came through. I looked at stuff yesterday. Let me fix the screen, so that you guys can see it. Not that. There we go. Where did my slideshow go? That is our slideshow. Sorry. So redid our data over the last couple days and found that I was missing out on some things. Particularly, we weren't seeing the top 25% of the batters. So if you were here last night, you saw the pictures, and we had the top 25% and bottom 25% percentages for them, for lack of a better term. And we were comparing them. For the batters on Wednesday when I did it, all I was seeing was the top 100 appearances for these guys, which really wasn't capturing things very well. For instance, the most egregious issue I saw was with the catchers, where Chance Sisco had 3 top 100 appearances. But when I went and looked at top 25 versus bottom 25 performances, it turned out most of his appearances were showing up in the bottom 25%. So while Chance Sisco was given a little bit of a top end there, more often than not, he was failing for guys, and he was failing for me. So obviously we moved on from Chance Sisco, and we're running AJ Pierzynski out there now, and you'll see why here in a minute as we look a little bit deeper into the position players. Hopefully this is the last time I'll have to do the bronze position players until next week, where we'll have an update then. But I didn't want to leave what I consider not egregiously bad, but a bad video with bad data and bad information out there for people to look at and maybe try to get something out of. Or you can go back and you can look at that one on YouTube, and you can make fun of me all you want. But there's not, it wasn't a huge change, but there's enough of a change that I wanted to get a new one out there. So without further ado, we're up to somewhere around 900 to 1,100 people at each position at this point, or performances at each position at this point. So it's a pretty good data set now. We're going to start with the catchers. And our number 5 catcher right now, Roddy Reed, continues to stay in the top 5. He dropped from 3 to 5. He's up to 78 appearances, just 2 in the top 20, but 10 of his appearances are in the top 50 and 12 are in the top 100. He's got a pretty high top end at 30.8% in the top 25%, but his dud percentage is pretty high too, which is still keeping him from going too much higher. Again, I thought about putting him at 2 or 1 last time. I'm glad I didn't, because his dud percentage is staying pretty high. 23.1% is not the kind of guy you want to be running out there in tournaments. Good defensive catcher though, so if you're looking for a guy that, if you need defense more than offense from your catcher, this may be a card that you want to think about instead of some of the higher rated offensive catchers here as we go forward. The number 4 catcher, previously unrated, is BJ Surhoff. We talked a little bit about him. Had some weird stuff going on with him, which I think is why I missed him previously. But for some reason, my converter tool was leaving off FFs. Like any version of an FF that was showing up in there was ending up as a space. So I had some Surhoffs and some Surhos, and what led me to figure out something weird was going on was I was like, I don't remember anybody from 1987 named BJ Surho, because I'm that old. I remember 1987 pretty well. I was watching a lot of baseball back then. And so I dug a little deeper, and sure enough, it was not BJ Surho that we were looking at. It was BJ Surhoff. So I fixed the data, and now we're seeing 64 appearances out of him. Only 1 in the top 20, only 1 in the top 50, but he's got 8 top 100 appearances, so a little bit top end. Good 23.4% in the top 25, but what you're avoiding from him is that dud percentage. Only 9.4% duds from BJ Surhoff. Doesn't strike out very often. Another decent defensive catcher, not quite as highly rated as Roddy Reed is, but he gives you a little bit more on the offensive side, especially with that contact. So he's going to get on base for you. A little bit more speed too. So he's providing some base running and some stealing for you that Roddy Reed doesn't necessarily give you. At number 3, also previously not rated, is 91 one-hit wonder Hector Villanueva. This was an interesting card to me. Not a big data set on him yet. Not a lot of people using him right now. Only 11 appearances so far, but 3 of those 11 are in the top 50, which is a pretty high percentage, and 4 of them are in the top 100. 72.7% of this guy's appearances so far have been in the top 25%, with a 9.1% dud percentage. Outperforming his ratings by quite a bit. He's got good home run power, but that's all I'm really seeing as far as ratings on the card. But for some reason, he's working out pretty well for people in a small sample size. I don't know where he's going to stay as the sample size gets larger. I am not currently putting him on my team. Luckily I have AJ Pierzynski that I can throw out there as number one, as much as I hate to admit that as my starting catcher. Also, spoiler alert. Number two, previously number five was Bob Guerin, 1989 one-hit wonder. Another kind of small sample size here with 13 appearances, 3 in the top 100, 2 in the top 20. He's been in the top 25% 46.2% of the time and has a 7.7 dud percentage. The reason he's higher than Villanueva right now is simply he's a little bit better defensively. Villanueva doesn't give you much defensively at all, whereas Guerin is at least mediocre, maybe a little bit better than average at his position, helping your pitchers out. Not quite as much power, a little bit. Contact is comparable, not as much gap power, but he's a card that's performing pretty well out of the catcher slot. Another card that I feel like is outperforming his ratings just a little bit, but for now, that's the data set that we have, and so that's what we're going with. And as I mentioned, our new number one catcher, previously unrated with 52 appearances now, 1 in the top 20, 2 in the top 50, and 5 appearances in the top 100. He's got a 42.3% top 25 percentage and just a 5.8% dud percentage. And that's why he's at number one right now, is because he shows up and plays every single time he's out there. I don't know off the top of my head what the numbers on Muddy Rule are. I'll have to look him up. I haven't seen much of him on the data sheet so far. And at number one is AJ Pierzynski. So this is a card that I don't think he's outperforming his stuff. You're not seeing a ton of great offensive catchers here, but he's performing well every time he's out there again. So he's got good contact, good gap power, avoids those Ks. Not a ton of home runs, maybe a 6-7 hitter, maybe a number two hitter on a weaker offensive team. But he's a guy that is getting the job done for now. We'll see how that changes over the next week. I don't like having him in here because he's kind of a dink, but we'll move on from that. That's personal opinion and not cold hard facts, because that's all we do in subjective top five lists is cold hard facts. Give me 1 second. I think my cat's trying to get out of the room. Come here. Or he's about to jump on my desk. So here come the first baseman. At number 5, previously unranked, is Bobby Bradley, 2020 MLB Live. So this is a guy that just started showing up. 11 appearances, almost 50% of those appearances, though. So 5 appearances in the top 25% already, 3 of them in the top 100. Just an 18.2% dud percentage. I like his power numbers. Not great defensively, but for a live card, he's got good gap power, good home run power. Even if he's not going to get on base, he'll be driving in runs for you. Hopefully throughout these tournaments, and he's shown up good so far. Pretty low on the list because of the fact that he just doesn't have too many appearances going on. He's a guy that's either going to shoot up the list or move down pretty quickly and fall out of the list next week. At number 4, also previously unrated, is Carl Yastrzemski, 1975 All-Star. This guy's got great ratings on his card. Good contact, but good gap power, home run power, and a good eye. Also, pretty good defensively at first base. Much better. I won't say pretty good. I'll say moderately good defensively at first base, which is an edge over Bobby Bradley. 26 appearances so far, 6 in the top 100. 38, almost 40% of his appearances have been in the top 25%, with only 19% in the duds. So with first baseman, I saw a little bit more of a top end, bottom end kind of thing than I did with the catchers. You saw the catchers that had. Yep, this one's a bronze card. It's a 68 rated Carl Yastrzemski. Or actually, you're talking about Bradley? Bradley's actually an iron card as far as I can tell right now. Yastrzemski is 68, so iron and bronze there. So one of the few iron cards you're going to see here today. Sorry, you got me off my game there a little bit. But I seen a lot of the first basemen that have top end also have bottom end, so they've all been kind of hit or miss. You don't see the 5% dud percentage that you saw out of AJ Pierzynski. At number 3, also unrated previously, is 1920 Snapshot Ed Knechtchi. Really good ratings on this card. I like this card a lot. I do not currently have it. 27 appearances, 1 top 50, two top 100s. Good top 25 percentage at 37% with a dud percentage of only 11. So 26-point difference between his top 25 and his dud percentage, which is kind of what we're looking for out of these guys. I'm not necessarily looking at top 20, top 50. Those are great, but you can have one good tournament and have a top 20 appearance. Whereas if you're constantly in the top 25% and not really in the lower percentage, then we're going to like your card a lot more. Good ratings, not great defensively. Yaz is a little bit better defensively than Kanechi is, but a little bit better hitting ratings across the board too. At number 2, previously rated number 1 is Kevin Crone, dropped from number 1 to number 2. Still up here though, still performing pretty well. 35.9%. This is a guy that I did look at his top 20, top 100 numbers a little bit. So yeah, he's got 64 appearances. But it's hard to ignore that he's got 20% of the top 20 performances of all of the tournaments that are out there so far, and almost 25% of the top 50 performances. So Kevin Crone's performing well. It's a little early to see if it's going to stay that way. We'll see. His ratings are a little bit lower than that Kanechi card. Not great defensively, so we'll see how this card goes. He already dropped one spot. We'll see if he stays up in the top 5 next time. And moving into the number 1 slot at first baseman with 36 appearances at this time. 2 top 20, 2 top 50, 7 top 100 performances. That's quite a bit of top 100 performances and 36 appearances. Almost 50% of the time he's in the top 25, and only 5.6% of the time is he in the bottom 25%. Mike A. Marshall, previously number 3, but he performed really, really well over the last 2 days. Good contact, good gap power, good home run power. Not great eye, but avoids the strikeout, and really good defensively over there at first base. Probably the best defensive first baseman you're going to see on this list, or you saw on this list. So not only is he providing you offense, he's providing you defense too, which is he's actually listed as a right field card, but first base is his best listed position. So that's where he ended up getting listed. He shows up on the right field, in the right field stats a little bit. But he's getting played at first base more often than he's getting played in right field. So this is where he ended up on the list. That concludes the first baseman. We'll move on to the second baseman. So the second baseman, I'm happy to say, we did a pretty good job with the other day. So Hanser Alberto remains number 5, still showing that almost 50% top 25%. And a 16% dud percentage. So Hanser Alberto can run, can play defense for you. This is a good card, pretty easy to find too. It's only a 65 rating and it's a live bronze card, so it pops up a lot. Selling for pretty cheap on the market too. I think he's going for like 55 points right now. Does have 6 top 100 appearances for the second baseman, so a little bit of high end there, but he's staying away from the lower end as well. Number 4 and staying there is Del Pratt. Now with 63 appearances, 9 in the top 100. 35% top 25 percentage, and just a 14.3 dud percentage. So looking at a 20-point difference there. Rated above Alberto still, mostly because I think his value is more likely to stay high. I could see Alberto dropping off a little bit. His ratings just aren't quite as good. But Del Pratt's a card that I think is here to stay in the top 5 at least. If not move up. I could definitely see him moving up over the next couple weeks as well. Number 3 also staying there is Scott Fletcher, now at 31 appearances, 45.2% in the top 25, 9.7% duds, 8 top 100s out of just 31 appearances. So over 25% of his performances are top 100 out of, I want to say, 950 second basemen now. So that's pretty good. Really awesome defensive second baseman. And if you know me, you know I like that defense up the middle between my second baseman, my shortstop, and my center fielder. Can also give you a little stealing and a little pretty good base running. This is a guy you can hit number 2, number 1 in your lineup, and set up the bigger hitters like the Mike Marshall and your bigger hitters there in the middle of your lineup. Staying at number 2 is Kaz Matsui, 2007 snapshot. Awesome defensive card, pretty good offensive ratings, not quite up to Scott Fletcher, a little bit better defensively, really awesome speed, stealing, and base running. Showing up in the top 20, not quite the high end as that Fletcher card has, but 42.3% in the top 25, and just a 3.8% dud percentage. So you're not seeing this card have bad tournaments almost ever. So I think that defense and the speed really lends itself to that, because I do take that stuff into account. But it's a card that's performing really well so far in these tournaments, and just a 64 rated card, but it's hard to find. I don't have it yet, so even after almost 300 and 400 packs almost I've opened, I don't have this Kazmatsui card. At number 1, this is another one I don't have, with 39 appearances, 2 top 20s, 5 top 50s, and 6 top 100s. 41% of the time in the top 25%, and just a 5.1% dud percentage, is still Amore Wrath. Excellent defensive card, not quite the speed of Kazmatsui. I could see these two flip-flopping at some point in the near future. Amore Wrath's just outperforming him just a little bit right now. And since he was at 1 last time, Matsui didn't do quite enough to take over the number 1 spot. This is a cool card. I don't have this one either. I'm running Scott Fletcher and Hanser Alberto out there right now. Actually, I think it's just Hanser Alberto. I don't even have the Scott Fletcher card. So the second baseman has been tough to come by for our team. Moving on to third baseman. At third base, number 5 now, dropping from number 2, is 1947 All-Star Frank Gustine. 90 appearances, he's getting used all over the place, 9 times in the top 100. Pretty okay top 25 percentage, but a really high dud percentage at 21.1%. It's an interesting card. You got really good top end value here. 9 times in the top 100 is a lot, but he's having tournaments where he just completely disappears as well. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to provide a lot of value every time out there, you might want to stay away from him for now. We'll see if he improves. He's got pretty good ratings offensively, but not great speed, and decent defensively, but nothing special. Previously unrated as a third baseman, but previously rated as a shortstop, we have Juan Uribe, the 2010 snapshot card. Some of you may remember from Wednesday, he had like 9 appearances as a shortstop with no duds, and that's why we ended up number 5 on the shortstop list. Now he's showing up on the third base list. He's got 14 appearances now as a third baseman, 4 of them in the top 100. So that's a lot for such a small sample size, but almost 80% of his appearances have been in the top 25%. We'll see if it stays that way. I think it's power driven, but he's pretty good defensively too, so he's providing you value there. Probably a little bit better value at third base than at shortstop, where you've got a lot of really, really good defensive players in the bronze cards. Just a 7.1% dud percentage too, so maybe a card for you to look at. Number 3, moving up from number 5, is Chuck Dressen. With 40 appearances now, 5 of those in the top 100. Not a super high top 25 percentage at just 17.5, but with a 5% dud rate, he's a card that you're going to at least get medium performance out of every time he goes out there. Really good defensively, a little bit better defensively than that Uribe card, and provides you a little bit more speed as well, but not a ton. Won't strike out a lot. And we'll get you some doubles as he's going along too. I'm running this card as my third baseman, and I've liked him pretty well. Number 2, previously number 3, is Jack Hanahan, with 42 appearances, 31% top 25 percentage, 9 appearances, 9 of his 42 appearances are in the top 100. Could have been number 1. Really like the ratings on this card. He's got decent to good hitting ratings across the board, really good defensive rating, but that 19% dud percentage threw me for a little bit of a loop and made me leave him just a little bit lower. Let's see, 6 top 50, so he's got really good top end, but he's gonna have some stinkers for you as well. Finally, our number 1 third baseman with 52 appearances, 4 of them in the top 20, which is insanely high. 5 top 50s, 7 top 100s, just a 17.3% dud percentage and a 38.5% top 25 percentage. You have Brian Roberts for the second day in a row, 2011 one-hit wonder. This is the card. I'm running this card out as my starting third baseman. Dressen's playing backup for us. Good ratings, good home run power. He's actually leading off for me right now just because he's got a little bit more speed than most of my other starters. Above average defensively, not great, but not going to give you a poor performance out there either. Showing up most of the time as a pretty good hitter. He's been a pretty good workhorse for the decimals throughout these tournaments. Moving on to the shortstops. Shortstop still broken. Trying to get Ozzie Smith out of the top spot, but I don't think it's going to happen. Jose Iglesias dropped from number 3 to number 5. He's getting used all over the place. I think it's mostly because super cheap, super easy card to find. He does have 11 top 100 performances, but his dud percentage is actually higher than his top 25 percentage. So more often than not, he's giving you not a great tournament. I think that'll likely change over the long haul. The reason he's still in the top 5 is because I got to be honest, the shortstop position is so overwhelmingly overrun by our top 2 guys that it was hard to find a 3, 4, and 5 shortstop out of all of this. Number 4, Ernie Banks moved into the top 4. He had 11 appearances today. One of those in the top 20, just 2 in the top 100, but he's got a top 25 percentage of 27.3 and a dud percentage of 18.2. Moderately good defensively, may train up a little bit, but I don't know. Good home run power, though, out of the shortstop position, and some speed for you as well. Number 3, Marinville moved up from number 5 to number 3. He's up to 28 appearances, just 1 top 50 and 1 top 100. But he's got 25% in the top of his appearances in the top 25%. And then just a 14.3 dud percentage. One of those guys, great defensive card, pretty good speed, can provide you value even if he's not necessarily hitting for you. He can turn singles into doubles pretty quick and also steal some runs for you. So Marinville's not a bad card to have at number 2, and still at number 2, 1906 snapshot Joe Tinker. In 80 appearances, he's got 3 top 20s, 9 top 50s, and 21 top 100 appearances. So you may be asking yourself, well, why are we seeing guys with just 1 or 2 top 100 appearances and just 25% top 25 percentage? Well, that's because these last 2 guys are all over it. Tinker and Ozzie Smith are still just cleaning up at the shortstop position. I'm running Joe Tinker out there right now, mostly because I don't have Ozzie Smith, but also because I really like this card and he's been really good, especially out of the 9 slot for me. He provides a spark at the bottom of the order for Roberts and the top of the order to kind of bring him around. He scored a lot of runs for us. Excellent defensive card. And then, of course, at number 1, almost 200 appearances, just blowing everybody out of the water. 8 top 20s, 21 top 50s, 39 top 100s, 43.4% in the top 25. He's got 90 of the top 25% performances throughout the entire bronze tournaments. Just a 5.6 dud percentage, so never stinks. Is Ozzie Smith. He's going to put up doubles for you. He's not going to strike out. He can run. He can play defense. There's a reason everybody wants to use this card. There's a reason I would use this card if I had it. I don't. So we're still, I won't say stuck, but we're still happily using Joe Tinker. Moving on to left field. At number 5, previously unranked, is 2011 one-hit wonder Brennan Bosch. With 19 appearances, 1 top 24 of his 19 appearances in the top 100 is why he's up here right now, and almost 50% of his appearances in the top 25%. I'm liking this. I'm liking what I'm seeing in this small sample size from this card. Not a lot of duds, a lot of top 25s. He's got good ratings. I think he's playing right around where you're seeing his ratings fall. Not great defensively, though, so if you're looking for a guy to save you some runs, maybe a designated hitter, since we have DHs in these tournaments. I do not rank designated hitters because they're so weird. I have very few people that have ranked as designated hitters. Number 4, also previously unrated, is Warren Cromartie with 24 appearances, 3 in the top 100. 37.5% top 25, just a 12.5% dud percentage. Good contact, good gap power, not a ton of speed, but really good defensively. Much better defensively in left field than Brennan Bosch. So probably not going to be relegated to designated hitter like Bosch would be. I'm going to have to see a little bit more from Cromartie before I start thinking about moving him up, though. But these 2 guys, not having bad tournaments very often, and they're showing up enough now that I'm more comfortable putting them on this list. Number 3 is 2013 one-hit wonder Dominic Brown. This is a guy that might shoot up this list. Also a designated hitter, not very good defensively, but he has the highest one of the highest home run powers you're going to see out of a bronze card. In 22 appearances, he has 8 top 100s already, just a 9.1% dud percentage, and more than 50% in the top 25. The only reason he's not higher right now is because we just haven't seen him enough. Which set is Ozzy in? That Ozzy, here, let me go back for you. That Ozzy's in the Hardware Heroes set. 1982 Hardware Heroes for that Ozzy card. Number 2, moving up from number 3 in the left field is Lou Piniella. Good defensive card, good hitting ratings across the board. In 78 appearances, just a 17.9% dud percentage, 6 top 100 performances. So not as many top 100s as Dominic Brown right now, but also has more of a track record so far. And does have 4 top 50 appearances. So almost 20% difference between his top 25% and his dud percentage, and that's a little bit more significant to me than the small sample size that Dominic Brown's given, though I would not be surprised to see Dominic Brown move up next week if he keeps performing like that. I don't know if he will. And the number 1 left fielder with 24 appearances, 2 top 20s, 3 top 50s, 4 top 100s, almost a 50% top 25 percentage, 8.3% dud percentage. Staying at number 1 is Mark Quinn, 2000 rookie sensation. This card continues to perform, continues to have good ratings, good defensively, doesn't make a lot of errors, and plays his position well. So you can play him at left field, but you can also play him at designated hitter too, and you could do worse than having those ratings from your DH. Can provide you some stolen bases, but the key here is that 45.8% to 8.3% ratio between his top 25s and his dud percentage. He's just performing every time he goes out there. And that's the kind of thing you want in these short tournaments. You don't want to have, because over 7 games, just one bad performance from one of your players can really throw a whole wrench in your plans for winning the tournament. Moving on to the center fielders. At number 5, previously number 4, is the live Austin Hayes. 40% top 25 percentage, 24% dud percentage, which is why he's not higher, but 4 of his 25 appearances have been in the top 100. I like his ratings, I like his speed and his base running ability, and I like his defense, but he's putting up some clunkers out there too, so not necessarily a guy I want to keep on my team. He's my starter right now just because I don't have the guys that I want running out there yet. We'll see if we get some of them tonight. But there are worse guys out there than Austin Hayes too. At number 4, previously number 3, is Vic Davalillo. He's up to 123 appearances now. Really awesome defensive card, really good contact, really great speed. Just a 14.6 dud percentage, and I suspect he's going to hang around the top 5 list. He's a guy that has 8 top 100 performances, a big gap between his top 25s and his dud percentages. So I think he's probably a mainstay in the top 5, maybe not tops on the list, but going to provide you good value if you can find him. Number 3, dropping from number 2, is Coco Crisp, 2007 Snapshot. Up to 85 appearances now. His dud percentage has risen from about 5 to 9.4%, but still showing a 35.3% top 25 percentage. He's another guy whose defense is breaking my system, but he's doing really well. 17 top 100 performances, pretty decent batting ratings, especially for a guy with defense and speed that good. This is a surprisingly low 65 card to me. I would expect a card like this to be closer to 68, 69, maybe even a silver, but you get to play him in your bronze leagues if you have them. Another card that I would like to get. Dropping from number 1 and number 2 in center field is Jay Payton, 2000 rookie sensation card, up to 29 appearances now. Lots of top 100, lots of top end value from Jay Payton. He's got good contact, good home run power, not great defensively. I think his ratings overall are a little bit worse than Coco Crisp, but he's giving you a top end performance that you aren't really seeing out of Coco Crisp either. He does have less top 100 performances, but keep in mind that that's in almost a third as many appearances. So Payton's racking up high-end performances, but he's having some stinkers too. And so something to think about. Good card though. I think that more often than not, with a 55.2% top 25 percentage, you're not going to see that mediocre performance out of him, but more often than not, you're going to see a really good performance out of him. Moving into the number 1 spot in center field with 14 appearances now, and I don't like having low appearances like that up this high, but He pushed my buttons. He's got 5 top 100 performances, just a 14.3% dud percentage, and almost 60% of the time has been in the top 25%, is Dom Demeter, 1963 snapshot, previously number 5. I could see these three really kind of interchanging throughout the whole season. Demeter's got a little bit better offensive skills, a little bit more power, and a little more consistent with the contact and the gap power. Does give you some stealing and base running ability, even if he's not super fast. Not quite as good, defensively as the other two. So most of his, unlike Coco Crisp and Jay Payton, most of Dom Demeter's value was coming out of his offense. So that's something that I could see keeping him from being in the top slot too often. But he is performing at such a high end so often right now that I had to put him up here. Again, I think you're probably going to see Jay Payton or Coco Crisp move back up there pretty soon. But for now, Demeter's the guy. And our final position, the right fielders. Number 5, previously number 4, is Mike Yastrzemski, listed as a left fielder in a lot of places, well, listed as a right fielder. Good defensively, good ratings across the board. The only thing keeping him from being higher is that he has 20.8% dud percentage. 120 appearances, he's easy to get your hands on, and he's been pretty useful overall, with 35.8% of his appearances being in the top 25. All over the top 100 with 18 top 100 appearances, but part of that is also, I think, due to having 120 appearances, but still 10% of his time, more than 10%, closer to 15% of his appearances being in the top 100, says something about this guy. Should probably be rated a little bit higher, but the dud percentage is just a little bit high for my liking. At number 4, previously unranked with 42 appearances, now 10 of those in the top 100, so a quarter of his appearances in the top 100, and a 38.1% top 25 percentage is Brian Goodwin. Not as high contact rating as Yaz, but good gap power, good home run power, good eye, a little bit better base running, though not by much. And also you're seeing him a little bit better, right around the same defensively, just performing a little bit better, albeit in a little bit more limited sample size. Mike Yastrzemski is all over the place in every tournament I'm in. Goodwin seems to be a little bit harder for people to either get their hands on or to want to put into the tournament. So, but when he's in there, he's performing pretty well. At number 3, dropping from number 2, is my personal favorite in the right fielders, is Phil Plantier, 1991 rookie sensation. Not a lot of appearances, but 65% almost in the top 25% with just an 11.8% dud percentage. I like his hitting ratings. He gives you some pop that the other two guys don't give you, gives you some base running the other two guys don't give you. What he doesn't give you is defense. So not as good out there, but performing pretty well, and more often in the top 25% than the other two guys. Number 2, previously unrated and vaulting into the top 5 in right field, is Aristides Aquino. And if you were here for the play-by-play for Game 7 for me earlier, Aquino's the guy who hit the go-ahead home run for the Decimals in the 8th inning that propelled them into the finals of the 32-team bronze tournament. Already 5 top 100 performances for him out of his 27 appearances, 33.3% in the top 25, so he's showing that top end, but he's not ever stinking either. 7.4% dud percentage is pretty good, even for a sample size of 27. Really high home run power, again, even higher than that Plantier gives you. Contact and gap power ratings comparable to that, a little bit comparable, but a little bit better defensively, I think, than Plantier is, and just a little bit more well-rounded as far as base running. So he moved all the way up to number 2 from out of nowhere. We'll see how long he stays there. Staying at number 1 with 14 appearances, nobody's playing him for some reason. 2 top 20, 6 of his 14 appearances in the top 50, 9 of his 14 appearances in the top 100. Just a 7.1% dud percentage, 64.3% top 25 percentage. Those numbers can't possibly stay that way if he starts getting played more. But for now, Gerald Williams is our number 1 right fielder, 1987 rookie sensation. Awesome speed on this card, decent defense, but good ratings across the board. Not the high power ratings of, say, the Plantier, but also a little bit more well-rounded than the number 4 and 5 cards. I don't think if he gets 100 appearances at some point that the numbers are going to stay this way, but who knows? So far, he's been pretty awesome for the early going in these bronze tournaments. So here's what you're seeing from my team right now. I've got Przinski and Guerin at catcher, Mike Marshall at first base with Kevin Crone backing him up. Hanser Alberto and Ryan Roberts at second and third base with Tinker and Iglesias at shortstop, Iglesias backing up basically my entire infield. I got Mike Yastrzemski playing left, Austin Hayes and Will Myers with Aristides Aquino and Brian Goodwin rounding out the outfield. The cards I would like to see come out tonight are the Maury Rath or Kaz Matsui would be awesome upgrades at second base. Maury Rath specifically, I've watched tear my team apart in more of these tournaments than I care to admit. Watching him go 3 for 4 with doubles and triples in game 7s, leading off for everybody that gets to play him, makes me a little bit jealous. I'd like to see Ozzie Smith, but I'm okay without him too because I like Joe Tinker. Joe Tinker's been pretty awesome for me. Mark Quinn would be cool. I'd love to get my hands on that Gerald Williams card just to see if I can get him more appearances in these tournaments and see if those numbers are for real. I don't know that they are, but I'd love to get to be able to see that and to see if we can make that happen. And then maybe a Jay Payton or a Coco Crisp, upgrade my center field defense. I like Austin Hayes. I like what he gives me, but I think Jay Payton and Coco Crisp are both pretty big upgrades over him. So I'm going to come back the end of next week with another look at these bronze tourneys. I think we've got pretty good ratings right now for these guys. So we're going to keep compiling data, but my wife's getting angry at me compiling all this data and wants me to hang out with the family and do other things. So I'm going to keep entering the tournaments. I'm going to cut all the data over. I'm just not going to put the shows together and stuff for maybe on a once a week basis. It's been a long 3 days trying to get this stuff out there for you though. So without further ado, let's head back over to the tournaments. Let's see if we can get an update on the decimals and see where they're at in the finals of their this tournament 700. I did sign up for the daily bronze tonight, so we'll see how that goes. So I think I've put a pretty decent team together. Looks like we're gonna probably lose in the finals, but that's okay. We made it there. We get 2 free packs out of it. We'll come back here in a minute, but for now, let's go check on the main decimals team and open some packs. You want me to do iron tournaments? I've been thinking about it. I probably will do that at some point. I'd like to get a little bit more data on these bronzes because I'm enjoying the bronze stuff. The iron tournament's going to have a lot of guys that are, maybe that's what we'll do. I'm going to do another week of the bronze and then we might move on to the irons. I'm going to keep running the bronze stuff, but maybe start doing 2 out of 3 of my tournaments in iron. I agree. There is a lot of iron stuff out there too, and there's some really cool cards going on out there as well. So we have 54 packs to open right now. We're going to check in on the decimals. So I did sell Mike Schmidt and put Matt Chapman in. I was hoping Matt Chapman would do something comparable to what Mike Schmidt was giving me, which wasn't a lot, especially offensively. But Matt Chapman's been a disaster. Batting just .210 for us today. Expected more. I moved him down in the lineup to number 7. Hopefully take some pressure off of him. But he's currently giving us just .3 WAR. 90 OPS plus, is providing us some defense. So at least, well, no, giving us a crummy zone rating and just a efficiency of 1, making some errors. So he's not even really giving us defense. But we got 225,000 or so points from selling Mike Schmidt. So what are you going to do? You just got to have to live with Matt Chapman for a little bit. The rest of the team, JD Martinez continues to hit home runs but not get on base other than that. Jim Bottomley continues to be a guy who can probably compete for an MVP but only plays offense because, well, no, he's my first baseman and he's not very good defensively. That's really holding him back on the WAR. He is having a great season, though, with a full day of play left. He's on pace for 44 home runs and 127 RBIs. And so I'm happy with what I've gotten out of him. Gabby Hartnett at the catcher position. We did plug Keston Hiera in last night at second base, and he's been a little bit less of a disaster than Matt Chapman, but not by much. Though probably better than what Jerry Coleman was giving me, as he was still stuck there as a bronze-rated second baseman. Still running George Springer and Mark Canha out there. So some power on this team. Still no speed to speak of, except out of Hira, who hasn't stolen any bases for us yet, really. But on the pitching side, we're looking pretty good. So still second in the league in runs against, first in starters ERA, second in bullpen ERA, and first in FIP. DeGrom, Strasburg, and Guzman at the top of the rotation are pitching really well. DeGrom's dropped below or above a 3 earned run average. The decimals have dropped. We were 7 points up in the division at one point, but this Jerktown Hambusters went on a run at some point, and we went on a not run. All of a sudden, these guys, yeah, looks like we lost game 5 and got knocked out. So 2 more packs for us to open, though. Let's see, they're running Bernie McCoskey out there. So Silver, Reggie Sanders, Andres Galarraga. They just went on a crazy run today and took over the division. And hopefully it'll be a crapshoot down in the end. Hopefully we can get some cards in there tonight that'll help us out. Shane Bieber is their #1 starter with Bucky Walters behind him, running just a 4-man rotation too. So interesting. Looks like maybe he's using an opener, but obviously has turned it on lately. Let's see. Hit up their info. In July, they went 19-5 in July and 12-8 so far today in August. So we'll see what September brings. Maybe the decimals can get back in it, but the decimals are firmly in the playoff structure with the #1 wild card, 10 games up on the #2 wild card. So they will definitely be in the playoffs, and we may get to see some of that on Sunday, but we'll see. Without further ado, let's get on to the packs. In the first pack, we'll start off with some iron, of course. What would a day be without starting off with some iron? 3 bronzes, none of which are super interesting. How's your team doing over there, Cavicom? Did you guys win Game 7? For silver, the net is Andre Munoz, reliever for the San Diego Padres. Is that a 32-team tournament? So you're in the quarterfinals right now? Or is that a 16-team? So the last 2 nights, we haven't even seen a diamond. I opened 30 packs and then I think 15 packs last night without even a hint of any real value whatsoever. Some golds, but nothing else that's really been coming out for us. And it looks like it's continuing so far tonight. Oh, 64 team, nice. First 6 packs are down with nothing. So yeah, that's pretty good prizes in those 64 team tournaments too. Alex Colomé is a pretty decent relief pitcher up there in bronzes, from what I've seen. I do have him in my bullpen right now, I think. I don't like him enough that you need to give him to me in every pack, though. Out of the park. Thanks, though. Yeah. Do you get for the 4th round? Do you get is that perfect points for the 4th round, or is that packs at that point? Huh. One pack. Could be worse. It's 10 packs if you win, right? Be good to get one of these good bronze cards I'm looking for. I'm in the bronze daily that starts tonight, and it'd be nice to get maybe the Gerald Williams or the one of the Amore or Kazmatsui to plug in there. See if they can get me some tournament wins in there. So far, there's been nothing though. Not even a gold yet. Are you bad luck for me? I mean, all it takes is one good card to make opening the packs worth it, but when you go 12, 13 packs without even seeing anything interesting. Well, there's a Duffy Lewis. I already have him, but he's an interesting left fielder. One of the last cutoffs. Uh, Probably sitting 6 or 7 on the left field for the bronze tournaments right now. I suspect that he's going to end up in the top 5. Here's our first gold, and it's left fielder Eloy Jimenez. So a really low-rated gold at that. But at least it's a gold. Maybe it'll start a run of good stuff. Mike Zunino is a catcher I think you might see in the top 5 list at some point. Not performing quite up to what I expected him to so far, but he's a guy that I think if the other guys start dropping off, then you could see him move up into that top 5. Craig Stammen's a pretty decent reliever out there too for those bronze tournaments. I mean, at some point, the game's gotta like accidentally give me a good card or something, I imagine. It'll probably take it back afterwards by giving me like a server crash or something, but so far, nothing. 20 packs in and nothing that I care to even talk about so far. Two silvers in this pack, so that's kind of nice. Two Nate Corneos in a row. That has to be less likely than getting a perfect, and yet I did it. Gates Brown is a pretty decent card on the iron side that I've seen. When I was running I did run a couple iron tournaments before I moved on to the bronzes, and the Gates Brown card was running pretty good for me. Man, I'm sorry that you have to watch these packs get open because they suck. Really, really bad. Don Ace is an okay reliever if you've got nothing else to run out there. None of the higher end cards. I don't think he made my top. He did not make my top 10 list yesterday. But he's a guy who could pop on there. Pretty good card. Here comes Kenley Jansen, who I'm already running out there, unfortunately. He's been okay, better than some of my other relievers, for sure. But really nothing special. I would kill a puppy for a live diamond right now. 3 straight days without even a hint of a diamond. I might just have to buy the other 150 packs and open all of them tonight if we get nothing. Because we're down to the last 30. I mean, there's no way I'm gonna get like a perfect Pedro here or a perfect Cy Young. Perfect Pedro being the only perfect card that I probably would keep and not sell at this point. He's untouchable for me. Ryan Yarbrough has been a really good starter for me in the bronze tournaments. Had an off day today, but we still somehow made it to the finals. Gross. Derek Jeter, now you're taunting me out of the park. I am embarrassed for these packs so far. Despicable. $30 packs in, we got 2 golds. We got Kenley Jansen and then a left fielder. I forget his name. It was that interesting. Oh, here comes gold number 3, Randy Jones, left-handed starter. Maybe we can plug him into our rotation or our bullpen. We'll check afterwards. Down to our last 25 packs. Tyler Glasnow. So 4 golds now. I'd be more excited to get Gerald Williams or Kaz Matsui than any of those, though. Nothing interesting in that pack. Mike Marshall, see if we can get him on the auction house after I just tooted his horn with my as the #1 first baseman, who's also listed as a right fielder. So remember, if you're looking for him in your bronze tournament and in your roster screen, you're gonna have to look for him under right field. He doesn't show up, I don't think, if you bring first baseman. Well, he probably does. But easier to find in right field, I found. Joe Ferguson, another gold catcher. I've got a bunch of them on this team. I've got Gary Sanchez was on the auction house. And then I'm running some gold catchers. There's Dom Demeter. So he just got, that's a good card, just got rated pretty high, #1 for center fielders for me. So even though I'm running Austin Hayes out there right now, I might be able to plug that Demeter card in for the tournament. So that's probably the most exciting card I've gotten for me so far. Gabe Kapler's been doing some things in the bronze tournaments too. Didn't quite make it in the top 5, but he's got some higher end stuff. He's got some duds as well, but he's a card that can give you some value there in your outfield. Hi, go away. Ugh. I'm gonna start crying pretty soon. Here comes another gold. Garrett Richards. Lots of starting pitchers tonight in golds. 2 golds in 1 pack. Sandy Alomar Jr. Too many golds, not enough diamonds. What my wife says. She's only got the wedding band because I don't make any money. So much junk. The 2 that you lost. Yoshihisa Harano is a pretty good reliever in the bronze tournaments. Man, if we don't get a single diamond, I'm going to be forced to open more packs tonight. I didn't want to do more than 55, 60 tonight, but I might have to just to try to wipe this ick off of me. These packs have been bad, 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 bad. Ten packs left in this set. I'm not even sure I've gotten anybody I can put into the lineup. Michael Chavis is another card that has seen limited appearances at second and third base, both second and third base in the bronze tournaments, just outside of the top 5 for me when I was running this stuff today. I wanted to put him in because you guys know how much I love the Red Sox, but he's just not quite there. I've only seen him like 14 times at either position. I haven't had a beer since December, and this is the closest I've come to wanting to crack one open. Welcome, Brad Crumble. Just saw your post. Hopefully, you'll enjoy Perfect Team. I don't know how much play out of the park 20 is going to get. I know it's the cheaper one on the market. 21's got a lot of serious upgrades. I know that that's asking you to spend money, but it's there's some pretty awesome upgrades, especially if you're going to do offline stuff in 21 as opposed to 20. But a lot of the perfect teamers have moved on, so I don't know how much you're going to get if you're trying to sell cards on the auction house and stuff over there. But yeah, even 19 still running. And if you leave, I left my 19 team the whole year. There's that Bobby Bradley that we talked about that was showing up in my top 5 list that was an iron. I'm surprised that he made it on there, but he's been playing pretty good up in the bronze level too. Are they shutting the servers down on 19? I didn't see that. I'm not sure how much people are spinning down there. But if you just want to open packs, then you can usually have some fun still. Guys, that was terrible. Do you want more packs? I kind of want more packs because that was bad, and I'm not willing to close the night out that way. I'm gonna jump out and then jump back in and see how the team did. But I think I'm gonna open 50 more packs tonight, just because I feel dirty opening those 56 and not getting anything. Yeah, 21 will go on sale in December. Used to be you'd see it go on sale around the All-Star break too, but obviously that's going to be in question this year. The Decimals won their last game 3-2. Soroka getting the win. Soroka's pushing an ERA, trying to get his ERA down below 4. He's been not great for us. Let's go ahead and get some more packs because I can't leave you guys like that. More importantly, I can't leave me like that. That can't be. I can't spend my whole night doing out of the park and not even get a stupid diamond card. And only get one of the bronze cards I wanted. My goodness. I wasn't planning on opening 100 packs tonight. And my coffee's gone. Raisel Iglesias, which is a terrible gold card. I've already got like 6 of that one, and I don't want any more. There's Mark Quinn. So at least we got a bronze card that I can be happy with. So I got Mark Quinn, and I got the Davalillo card, both of which I can be pretty happy with. Plugging into the tournament, I definitely think that I will move Mark Quinn in there instead of Mike Yastrzemski at left field for now. That's sad that the most excited I've gotten so far tonight is for Mark Quinn. I never thought I'd go over 60 packs without even a diamond card. This is ruining my week. It's Friday. It's supposed to be fun. Friday's supposed to be fun day, guys. I'm willing to bet at this point, the way tonight's going, my last pack, I'm going to get my first diamond of the night, and it's going to be Gary fucking Sanchez. That's what's going to happen. What are you doing over there, cat? Oh, oh, here comes 100. It's Napla Joy. There we go. The night is worth it. Second baseman Napla Joy, 100 rated historical legend. Well, you got to see your good card. We'll open the rest too since we bought them, but it's about time we got something good. I said Perfect Pedro would be the only untouchable card, but that Napoli Joy we're gonna have to check because I've got a pretty empty slot at second base right now, so that's a pretty cool card. Oh, and if you guys don't have a wife who hears you on a Twitch stream say, I'm out of coffee, and automatically goes and makes you a new coffee right after you open your first 100 card of the night, well then, I'll tell you what, guys, you're just not living. You're not living your best life. Thank you. Thanks for the clip, Cavicom. I've been posting the videos to YouTube. I'm gonna edit them at some point, I think, just for safekeeping. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing with the bronze tournaments. I really do think one more week I'm gonna move on to the iron stuff. I think that'll be fun because there's just such an incredible variety of cards down there. I'd still really like this Maury Wrath card or this Ozzie Smith. Either one of those would be really cool. Napoli Joy is fun and all, but I'm all about tournaments right now, especially since I'm not at work and I have all day. I didn't do tournaments too much last year because I just didn't have time. And now for the last 3 weeks, I've been stuck inside my house and trying to avoid my kids. And so I've been able to dive into the tournaments a little bit more. Making these spreadsheets to try to get this data to work has been a learning experience for sure. But I think I have them where I need them to be now. It was basically the whole week worth of work. Now I can just take data out of the game and plug it in and do the streams with it, and I can go back to learning the other stuff I was learning next week. So starting Monday, I'm going to get back on. I was learning C# to try to learn computer programming, and so it kind of hit the back burner. I'd like to start developing apps at some point, maybe work from home. I don't know. I should complain about Gary Sanchez some more and see if we can get another perfect card dropping. And Brad, you can totally play out of the park whatever way you want and still enjoy it. You don't have to touch perfect team at all. There's enough in the regular game that you can do just on your own that you can lose hours and hours and hours just doing your regular offline stuff. Some people put a lot of money into it. Some people put a lot of money into the perfect team. I don't. I do it free to play, and I do. So the last couple of years, I've done one PAX team, one team that was just like whatever the best cards I could find were, and then one Red Sox like theme team where I bought Red Sox players off of the auction house. This year I'm going PAX only on all of my teams. I'm staying free to play, and so generally what I do is the team that gets my first big money card, which this year it was Huey Jennings. I opened Huey Jennings 100 rated card that I sold for 275 for 275,000 perfect points, which if you think about it is like $220. Yeah, building an iron and bronze team can be a lot of fun. I don't know how much baseball history you know, but there's a lot of history in those iron cards and in those bronze cards. You don't get the big names like the Ted Williams or the Cy Young or that you see out of the 100 cards, but there's definitely some iron cards that I see that I'm like, huh, I'm gonna look that guy up and read about him. Uh, and usually I'll do that once or twice a stream. I try to stream when I'm opening like a lot of packs. I'll do the ones or twos. Like if I get one or two packs in a day, I'll just open them on my own. But if I get a lot of packs, I'll do it on a stream, and I'll usually look at some of the older guys and do kind of a deep dive. Yeah, it'll do it. You can buy a lot of good bronze cards with 35,000. Especially if you wait another week or two, the prices are going to keep going down. And so you're seeing a lot of bronze cards that are selling for 150 to even 400, 500. There's Sad Sam Jones. That's a cool card. 1928 Sad Sam Jones snapshot. And you can tell that getting an Apple of Joy raised my spirits a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and check Sad Sam Jones out. 1928. Let's see what he did in 1928. Always fun to open a perfect card, especially when it's a really, really good one like that. 1928, Sad Sam Jones was 17-7. Looks like he was pretty close to his best year. Here's a diamond, Shane Bieber. Maybe a guy we can plug into the rotation. Maybe a guy that gets sold for packs. 284 earned run average that year for Sad Sam Jones in 1928. Went 17-7 for Washington, the Senators back then. Let's see. 0.81 strikeouts to walk, so back then guys just did not strike out. His worst season probably was 1925 when he went 15-21 with a 463 earned run average. That might be an interesting snapshot for an iron card maybe. Overall, Sad Sam Jones was 229 and 217 over his career. For a .513 winning percentage. Did pitch for the Red Sox, the Indians, the Yankees, Washington, the White Sox, and whatnot. Was on 3 Hall of Fame ballots, never got above 0.5%. So he's a guy, I know his name because he did play for my favorite team for a little while, but another one of those guys that is kind of quietly tucked away in the history of baseball. And that's one of the things I like about baseball so much is you can have a guy that you know of and be like, oh, let's look at these numbers. Or even a guy that you don't know. There's so many iron cards and bronze cards that I pull. And even 100 rated cards. That Huey Jennings card that I pulled, I had no idea who Huey Jennings was. Turns out he's got the all-time single season hit by pitch record and the all-time career. He's been hit by more pitches in his career than anybody in baseball history. And he played in the 1800s. I had no idea who he was. So there's some really cool stuff in here that you can get. That's part of why I like opening packs, is because of the surprise of it is fun for me. 1979, Bruce Kyson. That's the year I was born. Lots of goals today, just the one diamond and the one good Apple of Joy. See if we can get one more good card out of these last 15. Yeah, I'm not going to call you bad luck anymore. I felt bad about that as soon as it came out of my mouth. You're here almost every time I stream, and I appreciate it. I'd love to get onto yours more. I enjoy your streams too. I spend so much time with life. I'm just going to start popping it up and letting it run, even if I can't sit there and watch. Johnny Everidge from 1906. That's a cool. I love the look of the 1900s cards this year. Lots of gold stuff. Justin Turner's down to a gold this year. He was a diamond last year. I found Turner to be one of the better live diamond cards from Out of the Park 20. Is that 10 in the morning? I mean, that would make sense. That's probably a really dumb question. I hate it when my team... Man, I was watching Game 7 last night in my finals. I was watching Game 7, and I watched Joe Tinker, who... You've seen his defensive ratings. Joe Tinker made 2 errors in 1 inning. And I was like, what are you doing, man? Marty Barrett was one of my favorite players growing up in the late 80s. In one game? 5 errors in one game at first base. How is that even possible? Did you check and see if someone had paid him for that? Well, Eric Gagne has always been the devil. Uh, I could have told you that 15 years ago. What level is your main team at right now? Are you up to like silver or gold yet? All right, 4 more packs, and then we're gonna check out this Nap LaJoy card and maybe a couple of these other cards, see if we can get them into the lineup, and then we'll be calling it a night. I think an hour and a half is a pretty long stream. My voice can only take so much. Not that I've had a lot to talk about during the packs that I've opened. I don't think any of my teams got promoted after week 1. They all were pretty bad. Ryan Stanek's a good relief pitcher in bronze tournaments. We got our last pack. I'm going to call the night a success, even though all we got was one really good card. Got 2 cards we can probably plug into the bronze tournament team. And diamond we can probably plug into our main team. Let's go up and check out this Nap LaJoy real quick. 113 contact, 118 gap power, 94 home runs, good eye, good avoid Ks, lots of speed, really incredible defense. This is a beautiful card. I like it a lot. I like opening packs too, though. And he's going for 500,000 points. Oh my goodness. I don't know how I feel about 450 packs. That would be a lot of packs. That would set the team up well for the future. I think I'm going to try to do that. Let's find out if somebody's going to buy him for 700. Ah. Not putting this card in my lineup hurts me. Nah. That's rough. Yep. That hurt my soul. You talked me into it. You talked no, you said that. You said I would keep it after I put it on the auction house. So that's your fault. You talked me into it. We'll get another one, right? See, my auctions, that hurt a lot. I'm playing him for now. Yeah, cancel you. Now I gotta wait 14 days. All right, can Bieber go into their rotation? See, Carraway is pitching well. Higby is my long reliever right now and not pitching well. I don't, so I don't really like the ratings on this Bieber. That's a really low movement rating for a diamond card for me. Yeah, I don't blame you for not paying 500 real dollars for a card. I really think if I can get 600 plus packs for that, I'm just going to take it. I'll be honest. I'm going to get something else out of that probably, and the team needs the help. So I'm going to see what we get for that. If somebody wants to pay $500, then more power to them. If he doesn't sell in the next 24 hours, then he's getting put on my team at second base. But for now, we're going to see if we can get something for him. See, we got Giovanni Gallegos here, 99, 58, 79. Third base, Justin Turner. Right now, I'm running Matt Chapman out there, and he sucks. So I'm going to 77, 68, 57. Turner's defense went way down. No, I never check the auto sell box. That is not something I do. You got me freaking out now. I'm gonna check and make sure. It's scaring me. Oh no, not with these guys. I don't check it. Some of the bronze ones I will. Automatically sell is not checked. Not checked. See, right there. It is not checked. This is embarrassing. That's probably the best card I've ever pulled. And I pulled a Cy Young. Animatics. I sold a Cy Young Animatics. But that LaJoy card is really, really good. Let's see. Anybody else that I want to pull out? Let's see. Pat Malone's in my bullpen. I got a lot of starting pitchers in my bullpen right now because I haven't gotten a lot of good relievers. And I think I'm going to, let's see, Brad Hand's showing on 103, 58, 68, while this Gallegos is 99, 58, 79. I think I like this a little bit better. Raisel Iglesias continues to be terrible, so I'm going to get rid of him instead. And put Gallegos in there. Let's see, I got this. So this Gabby Hartnett card is pretty cool. He's my starting catcher. Pretty good offensive ratings, pretty good defensive ratings for a catcher. Just a 92. Not great batting average for me so far, but providing pretty good WAR for me from the catching position. The team's not giving him time off for whatever reason. I'm going to let O'Neill play every third game for a little bit and see if we can get him straightened out a little. See, we got Gallegos we just put in here. Let's put him at middle relief for now. And that looks pretty good for the team. Let's see, we got lots of good golds that we can look at. I got a lot of duplicate golds. Sad Sam Jones, he's got 57. Good movement, good control, and I like that. I think he'd be good out of the bullpen. I don't think he's necessarily a starter with just 57 stuff, but I think this could be a good bullpen card. So I'm going to go ahead and take Brad Hand and put Sad Sam Jones in the bullpen. I didn't really get any high-rated outfielders tonight again, so I don't have too many people that I can plug into the outfield. We're going to see. Raisel Iglesias isn't even selling, so I'm just going to sell him and get him out of my way. I'm going to keep the other one. But, yeah, otherwise, pretty decent night. Yeah, it should be a fun Sunday. Definitely the Decimals hopefully will be in the playoffs. They're 11 games up now. Looks like they won again. We can check the lineup and see if there's anything we need to change. So Bottomley's got our best on base percentage, but he needs to be our number 3 hitter. Let's move him up to number 3. Dick Groat leading off up there. Paul O'Neill way down there. Let's move Springer up to bat second, and then O'Neill can bat ahead of Matt Chapman, who gets to bat 8th. I didn't really change anything else. I don't have any speed on this team to speak of. I guess Mickey Rivers could be my number 2 pinch runner. And we'll just copy those over. And then pitching, Sad Sam Jones. We're going to let him be, let's see. Agos is new. I'm going to let Britton move back into the setup role for a little while. I might move Sam Jones up there. But for now, he is going to be middle relief. And that's it for the decimals. We can check in on the other teams real quick just to see how they're doing, and then we're going to call it a night. I do appreciate you guys hanging out this whole time. Has been pretty long. An hour and 40 minutes is a pretty long stream. We got into the finals. Got 2 free packs out of the finals. We got some bronze cards sorted out. We got some bronze cards we can throw into the bronze team. The Bruins currently in Iron 164. I'm going to miss Knapp. Part of me hopes he doesn't sell. Part of me is like, that's like $600, man. But part of me, because I like opening packs, part of me wants that card in my lineup. So the Bruins at 63 and 63 are currently 2 games out for the second wild card. So with some luck, so this Brent Suter card that's pitching for this team right now, he's the pitcher that I want on the decimals. I don't have a single one of him on the decimals right now, and I want him for those bronze tournaments. The Bruins right now 6th in runs against, 12th in runs scored, so not a lot of offense here, which is easy to see why, as we got Gavin Lux leading off. And then Del Maxville is still playing for this team just because his defense is so good. I just have nobody to put in at shortstop for him. And then the third team, the Unicorns, we'll just check in real quick on them. Neither of these teams are generating a lot of points. I've been getting 1 or 2 packs out of them a day. The Unicorns right now are a game and a half up, so good chance of making the playoffs for them, so that would be nice. Down here at Iron level, 1.5 up there, and then they would not be the second wild card though, so they need to win the division if they're going to get into the playoffs. They got Sam Hilliard leading off with Randall Greichuk behind him. Pete Alonso is probably the best player on the team. I have to put Gary Sanchez into the lineup because I don't have any other catchers to plug in here, and it makes me feel icky. Chris Bryant batting 5th for them. Pagliarulo, Iglesias, Lopez, and Bill Russell closing it out. The pitching's a little bit better, so they are 6th in runs against, pretty close to last in runs scored. But Kershaw, not great. Pretty overrated diamond card. Again, I think I didn't like his card last year either. He's never had good movement for a starting pitcher. Britt Burns has been pretty good, and then Max Fried has been pretty good. For an 80 rated card, I like this Max Fried card. You can get it. He's pretty easy to find, I think. We got Silvio Martinez and Steve Arlen closing out the rotation here, and the bullpen's kind of a hodgepodge of whatever. Both these teams are kind of waiting for something big to come along so that they can improve their teams. But yeah, Nap LaJoy was the highlight of the night for sure. Sorry we didn't get to do... Well, we got to watch a Game 7 too. We got to watch the Decimals win Game 7 of the Bronze semifinals. And we got to watch 100 packs. I got 107,000 points left, so we're going to open some more packs within the next couple days. But for tonight, that's going to be enough. Again, thank you very much for stopping by. especially you, Cabicom repeat viewer. I appreciate it every time I get to chat with you guys too. So it makes the stream a lot more fun when people are talking. When I'm in here for an hour and a half just talking to myself, it's not as much fun. I know that this particular game, there's not a super ton of stuff to talk about, but I enjoy it anyway. So I hope you have a good night. Good luck getting into the playoffs this weekend, and I will do my best to stop by on Sunday and watch you play in the playoffs. And anybody else who's in here watching, watch Cavicon's playoff feed on Sunday. I'll be back hopefully Monday with some packs, and we're gonna go do some main perfect team stuff on Monday night. We'll talk about player value, card values, and stuff like that. And if we happen to sell a 700,000 point Napla Joy, we may have a lot of packs to open soon. So thanks again, and have a great night. See ya.